Petito was last heard from late last month. She'd been traveling on a cross-country trip with her fiance, Brian Laundrie. He's now the subject of an intense manhunt in Florida after disappearing last week.
We are writing this letter to ask you to help find our daughter. We understand you are going through a difficult time, and your instinct is strong to protect your son.
And our partners. I would like to extend sincere and heartfelt condolences to Gabby's family.
How can you keep her location hidden?
Yeah, I don't know. Some days I have really bad OCD, and I was just cleaning and straightening up back of the before, and I was apologizing to him and saying, I'm sorry that I'm so mean, because sometimes I have OCD and sometimes I just get really frustrated. Not like mean towards him, I guess my vibe is like, I like a bad mood. And I was just saying, I'm sorry if I'm in a bad mood. I was really stressed. I had so much work I was doing on my computer this morning.
We ask you to put yourselves in our shoes. We haven't been able to sleep or eat, and our lives are falling apart.
Just putting my job to travel across the country, and I'm trying to start a blog. I actually have a blog stuff, so I've been building my website. I've been really stressed, and he doesn't really believe that I can do any of it, so that's kind of really good. He doesn't really believe that I can do any of it.
We believe you know the location of where Brian left Gabby. We beg you to tell us. As a parent, how could you let us go through this pain and not help us?
As every parent can imagine, this is an incredibly difficult time for the family and friends. Our thoughts and prayers are with them. We ask that you all respect the privacy as they mourn the loss of their daughter.
Gabby Petito's case has taken a turn for the worse in the last few days when a tip from a YouTuber led to the search area being focused down after the blogger realized he had recorded her van on a remote road. This road is most likely where Gabby spent the last moments of her life. If you look inside the van, you noticed Gabby's hat is sitting on the dash. Something strange is behind the van though, with what looks like a pair of sandals sitting next to each other, with a book, possibly a cell phone or some other object sitting on the book. Also, if you zoom in on the van when the blogger approaches it, you notice that the door is definitely open, and it shuts as the occupant hears the van approach. This is an important detail because Brian was an avid reader. In fact, Brian's choice of book is strange because the book details women going missing. This led us to wonder if there were anything else that could help us understand Brian's mindset. We found art that glorified violence. One of the strangest images is a demon from a popular TV show called Disenchanted. And all I could hear in the deep recesses of my mind was, "Do it. Do it." This is the catch line of this demon in the show. In the TV show, Lucy tries to convince the main character, the princess, to engage in evil acts.
Do it. I'm gonna have to kill him or something.
Do it, do it, do it, do it. And after you kill him, we can hide the body. And then we can join the search party, and you and I can look at each other and try not to laugh.
In trying to figure out the details leading to the end of Gabby's life, Fox News has released information that Brian Laundrie was seen with Gabby arguing in a Wyoming restaurant. Eyewitnesses account what happened, stating that one of the last times Gabby was seen alive involved an explosive argument between Brian and the waitstaff at a Jackson Hole restaurant, according to a New Orleans couple that said they witnessed the argument. "I have chills right now," Nina told Fox News Digital Wednesday. "It's crazy, because it wasn't just like we passed them on the street, it was a full-blown incident." An agitated Laundrie began arguing with the waitress. 4.5 hours later, a travel blogging couple passed Petito's van at a campsite north of town.
You guys, excuse my French, but I'm freaking the fuck out. Matt and I just realized, because I'm a freaking dumbass and I did not put two and two together, that we not only saw like a blowout of a situation between Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie in Wyoming when we were there. She walked out and she was crying and she was staying on the sidewalk, and I was watching the whole thing unfold, and he walked back in the restaurant and he's fighting with the hostess, and I didn't know what happened. On the sidewalk crying, and he walked back in and was like screaming at the hostess, and then walked back out, and then he walked back in like 4 more times to talk to the manager and to like tell the hostess off, and like...
This shows that Brian has a very aggressive and obsessive personality. John Walsh, the famous America's Most Wanted host, has been discussing this situation. He had a lot to say and demanded answers for some of the things that Brian's family had done to assist Brian in getting away.
I've always said, and I've been saying it for days, this is a homicide. This dirtbag is out there. I don't know how he got out of the house with the FBI and local cops watching him day and night. And you know, this semantic BS about person of interest, in the old days we used to call it the suspect. Now there's only one suspect. There were no other persons of interest, no other suspects. How did he get out? How did the FBI and the local cops let the main suspect get away? All I had to do is put a deputy sheriff in the front street, a deputy sheriff in the back street. They wouldn't have had to search a swamp. And what the family is doing to Gabby's family, Brian's family, the dirty Laundries, and believe me, they are dirty. They haven't cooperated. This girl used to live in their house. She was engaged to their son. Their son meandered back from a 4-month trip and parked a Winnebago, her Winnebago, not his, her van, not Winnebago, her van in the driveway for 10 days. So he had 10 days to scrub that. I don't know what the hell the FBI waited so long to get in there, but he had 10 days to clean the house out. He had 10 days to scrub the van. And then finally, the parents went, how could Brian not tell us that he didn't bring her home? How did his parents? How did the dirty Laundries not have the guts to tell us? So they filed a missing persons report, and then they clam up. He lawyers up, they clam up. And think of the gall of this. Last Friday, their famous Johnny Cochran-style lawyer, Bertolino, calls the police and says, oh, the Laundries want to help you out now. On Tuesday, Brian went to a swamp that was nearby, and we were so worried about him that we went and found the car and put a note in it and said, dear Brian, don't hurt yourself. And then we brought the car back ourselves on Thursday, and then we called you on Friday. We didn't help you at all in the beginning, but now Brian's gone. Well, you know what they did? They bought their son 4 extra days. They bought him 4 days to get a head start. So I can't figure that out. But I've got to say one thing. This is a whole trilogy of sad things that shouldn't have happened. Number one, that 911 call that we heard yesterday, how that 911 caller that took the call, that wonderful tourist was going through that town and saw Gabby and Brian, and he felt bad enough to pull over and call the 911 operator and say to him, I just saw a guy beating a girl on the street. I pulled up behind him and pulled next to him, and I saw this same guy beating her on the front seat of the car. That was never translated to the 2 deputies that pulled him over.
So now we have a better timeline. We have the altercation between Gabby and Brian that led to them being pulled over. Thanks to the 911 call, we know that Brian did strike Gabby first outside of the van before entering it, and Gabby unfortunately lied for Brian, most likely because of fear, conditioning, brainwashing, all very common in these types of DV situations. Looking at Gabby's body language during the body cam footage, it's easy to tell that she's apologizing for what she did.
Okay. I was just cleaning and afraid to get back to the van before, and I was apologizing to him and saying, I'm sorry that I'm so mean, because sometimes I have OCD and sometimes I just get really...
She's been conditioned to do this. She's apologizing for how she treated Brian. In reality, it should have been Brian who apologized to her. The narrative put out with the body cam footage showed Gabby as the aggressor. That obviously wasn't the case. All we know now, Brian came back alive and Gabby didn't. As things sit, Brian's on the run and Gabby's body has been determined through the initial autopsy to be homicide as the manner of death. Some people think Brian might have taken his own life in the reserve. I agree with John. I think he got a head start and it was a distraction. We'll know more tonight after John does his broadcast, and I will update you as it goes. But as this sits, it's one of the saddest stories we've seen lately. A tale of domestic violence, abuse, brainwashing, conditioning, the horrors of narcissism, hatred, and evil. The only good thing that can come of this is that people now keep an eye out for each other and actually try to give help before it's too late. I'll see you in the next upload.